The snowflakes fell thick and heavy that December evening as Benjamin Walsh stood outside the elementary school, realizing with a sinking feeling that he had forgotten his umbrella in the truck again. His daughter Maya would be out any minute, her backpack probably stuffed with art projects and permission slips he needed to sign. And the last thing she needed was to get soaked on the walk to the parking lot. The temperature had dropped significantly since he dropped her off that morning, and what had started as light flurries had transformed into a legitimate snowstorm. Benjamin pulled his worn jacket tighter around his chest and waited by the school entrance, watching through the glass doors as teachers dismissed their classes. His work boots were already accumulating a light dusting of snow, and he could feel the cold seeping through the leather. It had been a long day at the construction site. His muscles ached from hauling materials, and all he wanted was to get Maya home, make her dinner, help with homework, and maybe catch an hour of sleep before starting the cycle again tomorrow. The doors burst open and children streamed out, their excited chatter filling the air as they marveled at the heavy snowfall. Benjamin spotted Maya immediately, her red winter coat bright among the sea of children. Her face lit up when she saw him, and she bounded over with that boundless energy only 7-year-olds seem to possess. "Daddy, look at the snow. Can we build a snowman when we get home?" Maya's brown eyes sparkled with excitement, identical to her mother's had been. Benjamin felt the familiar pang in his chest at the thought of Sarah, gone 3 years now, but he pushed it aside with practiced ease. "We will see, sweetheart. First we need to get to the truck without turning into snowmen ourselves." He took her backpack, slinging it over his shoulder, and grasped her small hand in his larger, calloused one. They had just started down the steps when Benjamin noticed a woman standing off to the side, near the bike racks, looking completely unprepared for the weather. She wore an expensive-looking gray coat, but it was clearly designed more for style than warmth, and she had no hat, no gloves, and definitely no umbrella. She was staring at her phone with an expression of frustration, her dark hair already accumulating snowflakes. Benjamin slowed his pace, his conscience pulling at him. Maya noticed too, tugging on his hand. "Daddy, that lady looks cold." He was not a man who could walk past someone in need, even if he barely had enough for himself most days. His mama had raised him better than that. "Hold on a second, sweetheart." Benjamin approached the woman cautiously, not wanting to startle her. "Excuse me, miss. You waiting for a ride?" The woman looked up from her phone, and Benjamin found himself momentarily caught off guard by her striking features. She had high cheekbones, intelligent green eyes that seemed to assess him in an instant, and an air of composure despite her obvious discomfort with the weather. "Yes, my driver is running late. The snow is causing traffic delays everywhere." Her voice was cultured, professional, with just a hint of frustration bleeding through. "Well, you are going to freeze out here. I do not have an umbrella, but my truck is just across the lot. You are welcome to wait inside where it is warm, at least until your ride shows up." Benjamin gestured toward the parking lot with his free hand, the other still holding Maya's. The woman hesitated, her eyes flickering between Benjamin, Maya, and the rapidly accumulating snow. He could see her weighing the offer, probably trying to determine if he was trustworthy. He did not blame her for being cautious. "I promise we do not bite," Maya piped up, grinning up at the woman. "My daddy is really nice. He helps people all the time." A small smile curved the woman's lips. "Well, with that kind of recommendation, how can I refuse? Thank you, I appreciate it." "Benjamin Walsh," he said, introducing himself. "This chatterbox is my daughter Maya. Elizabeth Kane. Most people call me Eliza." She fell into step beside them as they headed toward the parking lot. Benjamin noticed she was wearing completely impractical shoes, leather heels that were already soaked through. "Those are not going to work in this weather. Here." He shrugged off his jacket without thinking, draping it over her shoulders before she could protest. "You do not have to do that," Eliza said, but she pulled the jacket tighter around herself gratefully. "You will freeze." "I am tougher than I look," Benjamin said with a slight smile. In truth, he was already cold, but the flannel shirt he wore underneath would have to do. He had weathered worse. They reached his truck, a 12-year-old Ford that had seen better days but ran reliably enough. Benjamin unlocked it and helped Maya climb into the back seat before gesturing for Eliza to get in the passenger side. "Do you have a phone charger?" "Your battery might be getting low," Benjamin said, starting the engine and cranking up the heat. The truck sputtered to life, the heater taking a moment before it began blowing warm air. "That would be wonderful, thank you." Eliza handed him her phone, a newer model that probably cost more than Benjamin made in 2 weeks. He plugged it into his charger, which was held together with electrical tape, but it worked. "Are you Maya's teacher?" Eliza asked, turning in her seat to look at the little girl, who was already pulling papers out of her backpack. "No, I am her dad," Benjamin said, a hint of defensiveness creeping into his voice that he could not quite suppress. He had gotten that question before, usually from people who assumed a man picking up a child must be anything other than the primary caregiver. "I can see the resemblance now," Eliza said smoothly, and Benjamin relaxed slightly. "Same smile. Maya, what grade are you in?" "2nd grade. Miss Patterson is my teacher, and she is really nice. Today we learned about snowflakes and how every single one is different. Is not that cool? I think that is so cool." Maya launched into an enthusiastic explanation of her day, and Benjamin found himself relaxing as he listened to his daughter chat away. Eliza seemed genuinely interested, asking questions and responding with appropriate enthusiasm. Benjamin noticed she had a natural way with children, not condescending or fake, but truly engaged. It was a quality he appreciated, having dealt with plenty of adults who treated Maya like she was invisible or spoke to her like she was much younger than she was. 20 minutes passed, then 30. The snow showed no signs of letting up, and Eliza's phone, now charged enough to turn back on, revealed a series of apologetic text messages from her driver explaining he was stuck several miles away in gridlocked traffic. "This is ridiculous," Eliza muttered, scrolling through her messages. "I am supposed to be at a dinner meeting in an hour." "I do not think anyone is making it anywhere in this weather," Benjamin said, watching the snow continue to fall in heavy sheets. "The roads are getting bad fast. Where do you need to be? Maybe I can get you clothes, at least." "The Riverside Hotel downtown, but I cannot ask you to drive in this weather, especially not with Maya in the car." "The Riverside Hotel is fancy," Maya said from the back seat. "That is where they have the big Christmas tree in the lobby. We saw it last week when we walked past, remember, Daddy?" "I remember, baby girl." Benjamin drummed his fingers on the steering wheel, thinking. The Riverside Hotel was about 15 minutes away in good weather, probably double that in current conditions. He needed to get Maya home, fed, and through her homework routine. But he also could not, in good conscience, leave this woman stranded. Eliza seemed to sense his internal debate. "Please, do not worry about me. I can wait for my driver or call a taxi service. In this weather, you will be waiting for hours." Benjamin made a decision. "Tell you what. My apartment is about 5 minutes from here. I will take Maya home, get her settled with a neighbor who watches her sometimes, and then I can drive you to your hotel. That way Maya is safe and warm and you can make your meeting." "I cannot ask you to do that." "You are not asking, I am offering." Eliza studied him for a long moment, and Benjamin had the distinct feeling he was being evaluated. Finally, she nodded. "Okay, thank you. Really, I appreciate this more than you know." Benjamin put the truck in gear and carefully navigated out of the parking lot. The roads were slick, but he had plenty of experience driving in bad weather. Beside him, Eliza was silent, her hands folded in her lap, still wearing his jacket. "So what brings you to an elementary school on a snowy Tuesday evening?" Benjamin asked, making conversation as he drove slowly through the residential streets. "I was actually meeting with the principal. My company has a partnership with several schools in the district for a STEM program. We provide funding and resources for science and technology education." Eliza's professional demeanor softened slightly as she spoke. Education is important to me. Every child deserves access to quality learning opportunities, regardless of their background. That is really something, Benjamin said, genuinely impressed. Maya loves science. She wants to be a marine biologist when she grows up. This week anyway. Last month it was an astronaut. Maya giggled from the back seat. I can be both. I can study fish in space. I would not put it past you, sweetheart, Benjamin said warmly. They arrived at his apartment complex, a modest 2-story building that had seen better decades. Benjamin was suddenly acutely aware of how different his life must seem compared to Eliza's world of hotels and drivers and business meetings. But there was no point in feeling self-conscious about it. This was his reality, and he was doing the best he could. Come on up. It will just take me a few minutes to sort things out, he said, helping Maya out of the truck. Eliza followed them up the exterior stairs to the second floor, and Benjamin unlocked the door to apartment 2C. The space was small but clean, with second-hand furniture that Benjamin had painstakingly restored himself. Maya's artwork covered the refrigerator, and toys were neatly organized in baskets along one wall. It smelled like the coffee Benjamin had made that morning and the cinnamon air freshener he kept plugged in by the door. Make yourself at home. I need to run next door for just a second. Benjamin helped Maya out of her coat and boots. Maya, can you show Miss Eliza where we keep the tea while I talk to Mrs. Chen? Okay. Maya immediately took Eliza's hand and led her toward the small kitchen area. Benjamin knocked on his neighbor's door, and Mrs. Chen answered almost immediately, her weathered face breaking into a smile. She was in her 70s, a widow who had become something of a surrogate grandmother to Maya over the past few years. Benjamin, I was just thinking about you two in this weather. Is everything okay? Everything is fine, Mrs. Chen. I have a strange favor to ask. I helped a woman who was stranded at Maya's school, and she needs a ride to a meeting downtown. Would you mind watching Maya for about an hour? I will bring you some of those dumplings you like from Wang's place tomorrow. Mrs. Chen waved her hand dismissively. You do not need to bribe me with dumplings, though I will not say no to them. Of course I will watch Maya. You are a good man, Benjamin Walsh, helping a stranger like that. Send her over, I just made cookies. Benjamin could have hugged her. You are the best, Mrs. Chen. Thank you. He returned to his apartment to find Maya showing Eliza her school projects, explaining each one in detail while Eliza listened attentively, perched on the edge of the worn couch. Okay, baby girl. You are going to hang out with Mrs. Chen for a little bit while I help Miss Eliza get to her hotel. But first, what are the rules? Listen to Mrs. Chen, no TV until homework is done, and call you if I need anything, Maya recited promptly. That is my smart girl. Benjamin kissed the top of her head. I will be back before bedtime, I promise. Maya gathered her backpack and headed next door, calling out a cheerful goodbye to Eliza as she went. Benjamin watched until she was safely inside Mrs. Chen's apartment before closing his door and turning back to Eliza. Ready? Yes, but first, let me give you this back. Eliza started to shrug off his jacket. Keep it until we get to the hotel. I have another one. He grabbed his heavier work jacket from the closet, the one with paint stains and a small tear in the elbow that he kept meaning to fix. The drive downtown was slow and careful, the snow creating a hushed quiet broken only by the sound of the wipers working overtime. Benjamin kept his attention on the road, hyper-aware of Eliza sitting beside him, checking her phone periodically and typing out quick messages. I owe you dinner, Eliza said suddenly, breaking the comfortable silence. You do not owe me anything. No, I insist. I know you probably have 1,000 things you need to be doing right now, and instead you are driving a complete stranger across town in a snowstorm. The least I can do is buy you a meal. Benjamin was about to politely decline when his stomach betrayed him with a loud rumble. He had skipped lunch, too busy on the job site, and breakfast had been a granola bar eaten while packing Maya's lunch. Eliza laughed, a genuine, warm sound. I am taking that as a yes. My meeting should not take more than an hour. There is an excellent restaurant at the hotel. Wait for me. I cannot exactly dress for a fancy restaurant, Benjamin gestured at his work clothes. Then we will order room service. The words hung in the air for a moment, and Eliza quickly added, I mean, we can eat in the hotel lounge, or we can just grab something casual, whatever you are comfortable with. There was something in her voice, a nervousness that seemed at odds with her polished exterior. Benjamin found it endearing. Room service sounds good, he said, surprising himself. Beats frozen pizza, which was my plan for tonight after Maya goes to bed. They pulled up to the Riverside Hotel, a gleaming building with a doorman who immediately stepped forward despite the weather. Eliza handed Benjamin back his jacket and pulled out a business card from her purse. Here, text me when you are in the lobby. I will let you know when my meeting is done. Benjamin took the card, his eyes widening slightly as he read it. Elizabeth Kane, CEO, Kane Enterprises. He looked up at her, realization dawning. You are the Elizabeth Kane, the tech company Elizabeth Kane. A slight flush colored Eliza's cheeks. Guilty, does that change things? Should it? You would be surprised how often it does. She opened the door, letting in a blast of cold air and snow. Thank you again, Benjamin, for everything. I will see you soon. Yeah, you will. Benjamin watched her walk into the hotel, the doorman greeting her by name, and wondered what exactly he had just agreed to. A CEO. He had given his jacket to one of the most successful businesswomen in the state and promised to have dinner with her. The whole situation felt surreal. He found a parking spot on the street and sat in his truck for a moment, pulling out his phone to text Mrs. Chen that he would be longer than expected. She responded immediately with a string of encouragement and an assurance that Maya was fine, already working on her homework at the kitchen table. Benjamin looked down at his clothes. His jeans were worn but clean, his flannel shirt had all its buttons, and his work boots were the best he had. There was no point in being self-conscious about it. Eliza knew who he was, what he did for a living, and she had still invited him to dinner. He sent a text to the number on her card. In the lobby, take your time. The response came almost immediately. Meeting just started. There is a coffee shop on the second floor if you want to wait there. It is warmer. Order whatever you want and tell them to put it on my tab, room 1204. Benjamin made his way into the hotel, immediately struck by the warmth and opulence of the lobby. Maya had been right about the Christmas tree. It stood at least 20 feet tall, decorated with thousands of twinkling lights and ornaments. He found the coffee shop and ordered just a regular coffee, ignoring Eliza's offer to put it on her tab. He could afford a $4 coffee. He found a comfortable chair and pulled out his phone, scrolling through job listings. His current construction gig was steady work, but it was not exactly a career. He wanted something with better benefits, more stability for Maya's sake. She deserved more than scraping by, more than a dad who came home exhausted every night and fell asleep on the couch more often than not. Benjamin? Eliza's voice pulled him from his thoughts. He looked up to find her standing there, having changed from her earlier outfit into dark jeans and a soft-looking burgundy sweater. She looked more relaxed, younger somehow, her hair falling loose around her shoulders instead of pinned back. That was fast. I thought you said an hour. I might have cut it short, she admitted, a slight smile playing at her lips. Turns out potential investors can be remarkably efficient when they want to be, or maybe I was motivated to get through it quickly. Benjamin stood, suddenly nervous in a way he had not been earlier. In the parking lot at his apartment, she had been a stranger in need of help. Now she was Elizabeth Kane, CEO, and this felt distinctly like a date. So, room service? Eliza asked, if the offer is still open. It is definitely still open. They rode the elevator to the 12th floor in silence, though it was not uncomfortable. Benjamin was acutely aware of her presence beside him, the subtle scent of her perfume, the way she kept glancing at him from the corner of her eye, as if to make sure he was real. Her room was not just a room, but a suite, with a separate living area and a view of the city that would have been spectacular if not for the heavy snowfall obscuring most of it. Eliza gestured for Benjamin to take a seat on the couch while she grabbed the room's service menu. "What are you in the mood for?" "Whatever you recommend. I am not picky." They settled on steaks, Caesar salads, and a bottle of wine that probably cost more than Benjamin's weekly grocery budget. Eliza called in the order, then kicked off her shoes and curled up on the opposite end of the couch, leaving a respectable distance between them. "So tell me about yourself, Benjamin Walsh. What is your story?" "Not much to tell. Born and raised in this city, worked construction since I was 18. Married young, had Maya when I was 23. My wife Sarah passed away 3 years ago, car accident. It has been just me and Maya ever since." "I am so sorry," Eliza said softly. "That must have been incredibly difficult." It is, but Maya needed me to keep it together, so I did. She is my whole world, that kid. That much is obvious. The way she looks at you, the way she talks about you, it is clear she adores you. Benjamin felt a warmth spread through his chest. "I am trying my best." Some days are harder than others. Money is tight, and I worry I am not giving her everything she deserves, but we have each other, and that counts for something. "It counts for everything," Eliza said firmly. "Trust me, I know plenty of children who have every material advantage and none of the love and stability Maya clearly has. You are doing an amazing job." "What about you? What is your story?" Benjamin leaned back against the couch, genuinely curious. Eliza was quiet for a moment, as if considering how much to share. "I grew up in foster care, bounced around from home to home, never really belonged anywhere. I threw myself into school because it was the one thing I could control, the one place I excelled. Full scholarship to MIT, graduated at the top of my class, started Kane Enterprises when I was 25 with a loan and a lot of determination. 10 years later, here I am." "Here you are," Benjamin echoed. "That is incredible, Eliza. Really, you should be proud of what you have built." "Most days I am. But it is lonely, you know? When you are in my position, people see the title, the money, the success. They do not see you. I spend most of my time in boardrooms and on conference calls. I go to charity galas where everyone wants something from me. And at the end of the day, I come back to a hotel room or an empty apartment, and I wonder what the point of all of it is." The vulnerability in her voice surprised Benjamin. "Is that why you were at the school today, looking for something more meaningful?" "Maybe. The education initiative is important to me. I want to help kids who are like I was, who need a chance, who need someone to believe in them." She met his eyes. Today was supposed to be just another meeting. But then it started snowing, and my driver was late, and this man with kind eyes offered to help even though he clearly had his own responsibilities to worry about. "I could not just leave you there," Benjamin said. "Most people would have. Then most people are jerks." Eliza laughed, that same genuine, warm sound from earlier. "Maybe so." A knock at the door signaled the arrival of their food. Eliza answered it, and a server wheeled in a cart laden with covered dishes. She signed for it and tipped generously, then helped Benjamin move everything to the small dining table by the window. The food was incredible, easily the best meal Benjamin had eaten in years. They talked as they ate, the conversation flowing easily from topic to topic. Eliza wanted to know everything about Maya, what she liked, what she was learning, what she wanted to be when she grew up. Benjamin found himself telling stories he had not shared with anyone, little moments that made up their daily life. In return, Eliza shared stories about building her company, the challenges she faced as a young woman in tech, the satisfaction of seeing her ideas come to fruition. She was brilliant and driven, but there was also a wistfulness to her words, as if she was only now realizing what she might have sacrificed in pursuit of success. "Do you ever think about dating again?" Eliza asked, then immediately looked flustered. "I am sorry, that is too personal." "You do not have to answer that." "It is okay," Benjamin said. Honestly, I have thought about it. Maya has asked a few times why I do not have a girlfriend if I get lonely, and I do get lonely sometimes, but dating as a single dad is complicated. Any woman I bring into my life, I am also bringing into Maya's life. That is not something I take lightly. That makes sense. You are protecting her. Always. She has been through enough loss. I would not introduce her to anyone unless I was sure about them. What would make you sure? Benjamin considered the question carefully. Someone who sees Maya as part of the package, not an obstacle. Someone who understands that she comes first always. Someone kind, genuine, who makes me laugh and who I can talk to. He paused, then added quietly, someone like you, actually. The words hung in the air between them. Eliza's green eyes widened slightly, her lips parting in surprise. Benjamin, too much? He asked, suddenly worried he had overstepped. No, not too much, just unexpected. She reached across the table, her hand covering his. I like you. I really like you. This whole evening, talking to you, it has been the most real interaction I have had with anyone in longer than I can remember. I like you too, Benjamin admitted, which is crazy because I met you about 4 hours ago. Sometimes you just know, Eliza said softly. At least, that is what I have heard. I have never experienced it myself before. They cleaned up the remains of dinner together, an oddly domestic activity that felt natural. It was getting late, and Benjamin knew he needed to get back to Maya, but he found himself reluctant to leave. I should go, he said, checking his phone. It is almost her bedtime, and I promised I would be back. Of course. Eliza walked him to the door, then hesitated. Can I see you again, properly like on a date? I would like that, but you should know my life is not fancy hotels and room service. It is mac and cheese dinners and animated movies and parent-teacher conferences. That sounds perfect, Eliza said, and she meant it. Can I have your number? They exchanged phones, programming in their contact information. At the door, there was an awkward moment where neither of them knew quite how to say goodbye. Finally, Eliza leaned in and kissed his cheek, her lips soft and warm against his cold skin. Drive safe, she whispered. I will. Text me tomorrow. I will. Benjamin made his way back to his truck, his mind reeling. The drive home passed in a blur, the snow still falling but the roads slightly more manageable now that the plows had been through. He kept replaying the evening in his head, the easy conversation, the way Eliza looked at him like he was someone special, not just a struggling single dad trying to keep his head above water. Mrs. Chen answered his knock with Maya already in her pajamas, drowsy but still awake. She ate dinner, did her homework, and we read 2 chapters of her book, Mrs. Chen reported. She is a good girl, your Maya. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Seriously, you are a lifesaver. Maya was mostly asleep by the time Benjamin carried her back to their apartment, but she stirred enough to mumble, Did you help the nice lady? I did, baby. She made it to her meeting. Good. We should invite her for dinner sometime. I liked her. Benjamin tucked Maya into bed, kissing her forehead. Maybe we will, sweetheart. Sleep tight. He was about to leave her room when Maya spoke again, her voice small and sleepy. Daddy, are you happy? The question caught him off guard. Of course I am happy. I have you, do not I? No, I mean happy like with a friend. You are always taking care of me, but who takes care of you? Benjamin sat down on the edge of her bed, smoothing her hair back. I am okay, Maya. You do not need to worry about me. But I do worry. You get sad sometimes, I can tell. He should have known better than to think he could hide his emotions from his perceptive daughter. Sometimes I do get sad, but that is okay. It is okay to feel sad sometimes. But you know what makes me happy? Seeing you learn new things and laugh and be the amazing person you are. Maybe Miss Eliza could make you happy too, Maya suggested, then yawned hugely. She was nice and pretty, and she really listened when I talked. Get some sleep, you little matchmaker, Benjamin said, smiling despite himself. His phone buzzed just as he was washing dishes. A text from an unknown number that he recognized as Eliza's. Thank you for tonight. It meant more to me than you know. He dried his hands and typed back. Thank you for dinner, and for the conversation. I had a great time. Does Maya have school tomorrow? Benjamin checked the calendar. Yes, unless it is canceled for snow. What are you doing this weekend? Depends. Why? I want to take you and Maya to do something fun. Let me treat you both to a day out. Say yes. Benjamin hesitated, his pride warring with his practical side. He did not like the idea of being someone's charity case, but this did not feel like charity. This felt like a woman who genuinely wanted to spend time with them. Okay, yes, but nothing too extravagant. Maya is 7, she is happy with simple things. Perfect, I will plan something. I will text you tomorrow with details. Sleep well, Benjamin. You too, Eliza. Benjamin lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling and listening to the muffled sounds of the city outside. For the first time in 3 years, he felt something stirring in his chest beyond just exhaustion and worry. It felt like hope, like possibility, like maybe life had more in store for him than just getting by. The next morning brought a call from the school district announcing a snow day. Maya was ecstatic, immediately planning how they would spend their unexpected day off together. Benjamin called his job site, but they were shut down too, the weather making construction impossible. His phone rang around 10 in the morning. Eliza's name lit up the screen. Hello? Good morning. I heard school was canceled. I am snowed in at the hotel anyway. All my meetings for today have been rescheduled. Want some company? Benjamin looked around his small apartment, at the breakfast dishes still in the sink, and Maya's toys scattered across the living room floor despite his best organizational efforts. Here, if that is okay, I promise I do not bite. And I make excellent hot chocolate, or at least I am pretty good at ordering it from the coffee shop downstairs. He laughed. Okay, yeah, come over, but I warned you it is not fancy. I will see you in about 40 minutes. Benjamin spent the next 35 minutes speed cleaning, much to Maya's confusion. Why are you cleaning so much, Daddy? We cleaned yesterday. Miss Eliza from yesterday is coming to visit. I just want things to look nice. Maya's eyes went wide. Really? She is coming here. Then, with the brutal honesty of children, do you like her, Daddy? Like her? I like her. She is nice. You are blushing. Daddy is blushing. I am not blushing. My face is just warm from cleaning. A knock at the door saved him from further interrogation. Benjamin opened it to find Eliza standing there in jeans, boots, and a puffy winter coat, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, and her arms full of bags from the coffee shop. I come bearing gifts, she announced. Hot chocolate, cinnamon rolls, and some fancy coffee drinks I was not sure how to pronounce but looked good. Maya immediately ran up, bouncing with excitement. You came. Daddy said you were coming, but I did not believe it because you are important and busy. I am never too busy for friends, Eliza said, setting down the bags and crouching to Maya's level. Hi, Maya. Is it okay that I am here? It is super okay. Do you want to see my room? I have posters of fish and a telescope that Daddy got me from a yard sale and a rock collection. I would love to see all of that, Eliza said warmly. Benjamin watched as Maya dragged Eliza down the short hallway to her room, chattering nonstop. He unpacked the bags, finding not just hot chocolate and cinnamon rolls, but also pastries, fruit cups, and enough coffee to caffeinate a small army. It was too much, too generous, but he found he did not mind as much as he thought he would. 20 minutes later, Eliza emerged from Maya's room having been given the complete tour. You have an amazing daughter, she told Benjamin. She is smart, creative, and has excellent taste in marine life. Did you know the blue whale's heart is the size of a small car? I did know that, actually. She tells me approximately 3 times a week. They spent the morning together, the 3 of them, playing board games and watching Maya's favorite animated movie. Eliza sat on the floor with Maya, helping her build an elaborate structure out of blocks, laughing when it inevitably collapsed. She did not act like someone who ran a multi-million-dollar company. She acted like someone who was simply happy to be there. Around noon, Maya announced she was hungry. Benjamin opened the fridge and surveyed their limited options. I have stuff for grilled cheese and tomato soup. My favorite, Maya declared. Mine too, actually, Eliza said. They crowded into the small kitchen, Benjamin cooking while Eliza set the table, and Maya provided running commentary on everything. It was chaotic and warm and felt startlingly like a family, which both thrilled and terrified Benjamin. After lunch, Maya started to get drowsy, the late night and early excitement catching up with her. She curled up on the couch with her favorite blanket, her eyes drooping. "Someone is ready for a nap," Benjamin said softly. "I am not tired," Maya protested, even as she yawned. "Just rest your eyes for a few minutes," Eliza suggested, sitting beside her and gently stroking her hair. Within minutes, Maya was asleep, her head resting against Eliza's side. Benjamin carefully moved her to her bed, tucking her in. When he returned to the living room, Eliza was standing by the window, looking out at the continuing snowfall. "She is wonderful, Benjamin, truly." "I think so, but I am biased." He moved to stand beside her. "Thank you for coming today. You did not have to do this." "I wanted to." "I have been thinking about you since last night, about both of you." She turned to face him. "I know this is fast. I know we barely know each other, but I feel something here, something real. Do you feel it too?" "Yeah," Benjamin admitted. "I do. It scares me a little if I am honest." "Me too." "I have spent so many years focused on work, on building my company, on proving myself. I told myself I did not have time for a relationship, that I did not need anyone. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared of letting someone in, scared of being vulnerable, scared of losing control. And now I met someone who offered me his jacket in a snowstorm without a second thought. Someone who puts his daughter first, who works hard, who is kind and genuine. And I realized that maybe being scared is not a good enough reason to miss out on something potentially amazing." Benjamin reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "I have not done this in a long time, the dating thing, and I have never done it with Maya in the picture. I need to go slow for her sake." "Slow is good," Eliza agreed. "I am not going anywhere." They spent the rest of the afternoon talking, really talking, learning about each other beyond the surface details. Eliza told him about growing up in the foster system, about the loneliness and instability, about how it drove her to create her own security through success. Benjamin shared his own struggles, the grief of losing Sarah, the overwhelming responsibility of suddenly being a single parent, the constant worry that he was not doing enough. "You are doing more than enough," Eliza insisted. "Maya is happy and healthy and loved. That is what matters." When Maya woke up from her nap, they made dinner together, Eliza proving surprisingly competent in the kitchen despite her claim that she usually lived on takeout. They made spaghetti and meatballs, Maya standing on a chair to help stir the sauce while Eliza carefully supervised. "This is fun," Maya announced through a mouthful of pasta at dinner. "Can we do this more often?" "Maya, manners," Benjamin reminded her gently. "Can we?" Maya asked again after swallowing. "We will see," Benjamin said, but he caught Eliza's eye across the table and they both smiled. Eliza stayed until after dinner, helping clean up and then playing one more game with Maya before finally announcing she should head back to the hotel. "I have an early video conference tomorrow." At the door, Maya hugged Eliza tightly. "Will I see you again?" "Absolutely." "In fact, I am planning something special for this weekend, if your dad says it is okay." "Please, Daddy, please." Maya turned her pleading eyes on Benjamin. "We will see," he said again, but he was smiling. After Maya reluctantly went to get ready for bed, Benjamin walked Eliza down to her car, a sleek sedan that her driver had apparently delivered earlier. "Thank you for today," he said. "Really, it meant a lot. To me too." Eliza stepped closer, her breath visible in the cold air. "I am really bad at this, the whole dating thing. I do not have a lot of practice, but I really like you, Benjamin. I really like spending time with you and Maya." "I really like you too," Benjamin said, and then, before he could second-guess himself, he leaned in and kissed her. It was soft and sweet, his cold hands coming up to cup her face, her fingers gripping the front of his jacket. When they finally pulled apart, they were both smiling. "Okay, that was worth waiting for," Eliza said breathlessly. "Yeah, it really was." They stood in the snow for another few minutes, neither wanting to let go, before finally Eliza forced herself to get in her car. "Text me." "I will. Drive safe." Benjamin watched her drive away, then headed back upstairs to find Maya supposedly brushing her teeth, but actually using her toothbrush as a microphone to sing into the bathroom mirror. "Bed, goofball," he said, unable to keep the grin off his face. As he tucked her in for the second time that night, Maya looked up at him with knowing eyes. "You kissed her, did not you? How did you? Were you spying?" "I maybe looked out the window a little bit." "Are you happy, Daddy?" Benjamin sat on the edge of her bed. "Yeah, baby, I think I am." "Good." "I like her. She is nice to me and she makes you smile. That is important. When did you get so wise?" "I have always been wise. You just do not always notice." Maya yawned and snuggled deeper into her blankets. "Love you, Daddy." "Love you too, sweetheart, more than anything." The week that followed was a blur of text messages and phone calls. Eliza's schedule was packed with meetings and obligations, but she made time to check in throughout the day, sending Maya pictures of interesting things she saw and asking Benjamin about his day. It was new and exciting and terrifying all at once. Friday evening, Eliza called just as Benjamin was making dinner. "So, about this weekend. How do you and Maya feel about the aquarium?" "The aquarium?" Maya would lose her mind. "She has been wanting to go forever, but tickets are expensive and I have been trying to save up." "Well, now you do not have to. I already bought tickets for tomorrow, the morning session, so it is less crowded. And then I thought we could grab lunch somewhere. Nothing fancy, I promise. Maybe pizza." "Eliza, you do not have to do all this." "I know I do not have to. I want to. Please let me do this. For all of you, but especially for Maya. She deserves fun experiences and I want to be part of that." Benjamin felt a lump in his throat. "Okay, yes, thank you. Do not thank me yet." "You might regret it when Maya makes you look at every single fish tank for an hour each." "Worth it." The next morning, Benjamin and Maya met Eliza at the aquarium entrance. Maya was practically vibrating with excitement, wearing her favorite dress with fish printed on it and her light-up sneakers. "This is the best day ever," she declared before they had even gone inside. The aquarium was magical through Maya's eyes. She pressed her face against every glass enclosure, reading every placard out loud, asking questions faster than Benjamin or Eliza could answer them. Eliza indulged her completely, never once checking her phone or seeming impatient. She asked Maya questions, genuinely interested in her answers, and even bought her a stuffed octopus from the gift shop that Maya immediately named Dr. Tentacles. They had lunch at a pizza place near the aquarium, Maya regaling them with facts about every creature they had seen. "Did you know sea otters hold hands when they sleep so they do not drift apart? That is so cute. Daddy, why do not we hold hands when we sleep?" "Because we have separate beds, goofball." "Oh yeah." Maya took a massive bite of pizza, then turned to Eliza. "Do you have a bed? I mean, obviously you have a bed. Everyone has beds, but where is yours? Are you staying at the hotel forever?" "I have an apartment about an hour from here." "I have been staying at the hotel this week because the commute in the snow would be difficult, but I will probably head home tomorrow." "An hour is far," Maya said, frowning. "That means we would not see you as much." "I will still visit," Eliza promised, "as often as I can." "But that is not every day. Daddy, an hour is too far." "Maya, it is okay. We will work it out." Benjamin shot Eliza an apologetic look, but she was smiling softly. After lunch, they walked through a nearby park, the snow from earlier in the week mostly melted except for patches in the shade. Maya ran ahead, burning off energy, while Benjamin and Eliza walked side by side, close enough that their hands occasionally brushed. "She has a point, you know," Eliza said. "An hour is far. I have actually been thinking about that." "Thinking about it how?" "Kane Enterprises has an office in this city. It is smaller than our main headquarters, but I could probably work from there a few days a week, or I could work from home more often. I have good staff. I do not need to be physically present for everything. Benjamin stopped walking, turning to face her. Eliza, that is a big change. You should not rearrange your life for someone you have known less than a week. What if I want to? She met his eyes steadily. What if this feels right in a way nothing has felt right in a very long time? What if I am tired of putting work first and I am ready to put people first for a change? People or me? You, Maya. This. She gestured between them. I am not saying I am going to quit my job and move in tomorrow. I am saying I want to figure out how to make this work, for real, long term. If you want that too. I do want that, Benjamin admitted. More than I probably should, considering we just met, but Meyer is already getting attached, and if this does not work out, then we will handle it. But Benjamin, we cannot not try because we are scared of it failing. That is not living. He reached out and took her hand, threading his fingers through hers. Okay, let us try, for real. Maya came running back at that moment, breathless and grinning. There are ducks. Can we go see the ducks? They spent another hour at the park, feeding the ducks with breadcrumbs that Eliza had somehow thought to bring, before finally heading back to the parking lot. Maya was exhausted but happy, half asleep in the back seat on the drive home. Come up, Benjamin asked when they reached his apartment. I will make coffee. I would love to. They managed to transfer Maya from the truck to her bed without fully waking her, and then Benjamin made good on his promise of coffee. They sat together on the couch, closer than they had sat before, Eliza's head resting on his shoulder. This is nice, she murmured. Just sitting, being still. I am not good at being still usually. You do not have to be anything but yourself here, Benjamin said, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. They stayed like that for a long time, comfortable in the silence, until Eliza's phone buzzed with an urgent work email. She sighed, reading it quickly. I am sorry. I need to make a call. This is time sensitive. Do what you need to do. Benjamin listened as Eliza paced in his kitchen, handling whatever crisis had emerged with calm professionalism. She was brilliant at what she did, he realized. Commanding and clear, making decisions with confidence. It was attractive, seeing this side of her. When she hung up, she looked apologetic. Sorry, one of our major clients had an issue with a product launch. Did you fix it? I think so. We will see. She sat back down, running a hand through her hair. This is my life, Benjamin. Calls at odd hours, constant emergencies, always being on. I need you to know that going in. I am working on having better balance, but this is part of who I am. I know. And I am a construction worker who sometimes comes home covered in dirt and drywall dust, who has a 7-year-old daughter that will always be my priority, who cannot afford fancy restaurants or expensive gifts. That is who I am. And I like who you are, all of you. Then we will figure it out, Benjamin said simply. Together. Over the next few weeks, they settled into a rhythm. Eliza started splitting her time between her apartment and the city, spending most weekends with Benjamin and Maya. They went to Maya's school play together, where Maya forgot half her lines but charmed the audience anyway. They had dinner at Benjamin's apartment more nights than not, taking turns cooking or ordering takeout. Eliza proved to be surprisingly domestic when given the chance. She helped Maya with her homework, her tech background making her excellent at explaining math concepts. She learned how to braid Maya's hair by watching YouTube videos. She even fixed Benjamin's ancient laptop when it stopped working, declaring it a miracle it had lasted as long as it had. Benjamin, in turn, helped Eliza slow down. He taught her that not every moment needed to be productive, that sometimes the best thing you could do was just be present. They went for walks with no destination in mind. They watched movies without checking emails. They cooked meals from scratch, taking their time, enjoying the process. I have not been this relaxed in years, Eliza admitted one evening as they cleaned up after dinner. Maya was in the living room, supposedly reading but probably playing with her toys instead. Good. You deserve to relax. I have been thinking about something. Eliza dried a plate, not meeting his eyes. My lease is up next month. I was thinking about looking for a place in this city instead of renewing. Benjamin's hands stilled in the soapy water. That is a big step. I know, but I am here most of the time anyway, and I like being close to you both. It makes sense, practically speaking. And emotionally speaking, Eliza set down the plate and turned to face him. Emotionally speaking, I am falling in love with you, with both of you. This little life you have built, it is everything I have been missing without knowing it. I want to be part of it, for real and permanent. Benjamin pulled her close, his soapy hands leaving wet marks on her shirt, but neither of them cared. I am falling in love with you too. I have been trying not to, trying to be logical and sensible and protect myself and Maya, but I cannot help it. You are amazing, Eliza. She kissed him deep and sweet, and they stayed that way until Maya's voice called out, "Are you guys kissing again? Gross." They broke apart, laughing. "Not gross," Benjamin called back. "Perfectly normal, still gross." Maya appeared in the kitchen doorway, grinning. "But I guess it is okay, because Eliza makes you happy and she is nice to me and she does not treat me like a baby." "You are very mature for 7, Eliza said seriously. "I know," Maya replied, equally serious. "So are you going to move here? Because that would be cool. You could come to my soccer games and help me with my science projects, and we could have movie nights every week instead of just sometimes." "Would you like that?" Eliza asked. "Me being around more?" Maya pretended to think about it, then broke into a huge smile. "Duh, you are basically my friend. And Daddy is happier when you are here. Plus you are really good at making pancakes." "Well, when you put it that way." Eliza looked at Benjamin, raising an eyebrow in question. "Find a place close by," he said. "Please." The apartment hunting process took a few weeks. Eliza looked at several places, always asking for Benjamin and Maya's opinions. They finally settled on a 2-bedroom apartment in a nice building about 10 minutes away. It had a balcony overlooking a small park and was close enough that Maya could walk there after school if she wanted. Moving day was an event. Benjamin took the day off work to help, and Maya appointed herself supervisor, directing where boxes should go and offering helpful suggestions like, "You need more colorful pillows, and a fish tank would look good here." Mrs. Chen came by with cookies, eager to meet the woman who had so thoroughly captured Benjamin's attention. "You take good care of him," she told Eliza seriously. "He is a good man, but he forgets to take care of himself sometimes." "I will," Eliza promised. That evening, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, they ordered Chinese food and ate sitting on the floor because Eliza's furniture was not being delivered until the next day. Maya fell asleep on the air mattress Eliza had set up, exhausted from the day's excitement. "This is crazy," Eliza said, looking around at the chaos. 6 weeks ago, I was living in a perfectly organized apartment, working 80-hour weeks, eating every meal at my desk. And now I am here, surrounded by boxes, eating lo mein on the floor with you, and I have never been happier." "No regrets?" Benjamin asked, lacing his fingers through hers. "Not a single one." They stayed up late talking, making plans, dreaming about the future. Eventually, Benjamin had to leave, needing to get Maya back to his apartment and into her own bed. At the door, Eliza kissed him goodbye, a lingering kiss full of promise. "Tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow, always tomorrow, and the next day and the next." Good. The months that followed were the happiest Benjamin could remember since before Sarah died. He and Eliza fell into an easy partnership, supporting each other through work stress and parenting challenges and everyday life. Maya thrived with Eliza's attention, her grades improving even more as Eliza helped her with projects and encouraged her curiosity. For Benjamin's birthday, Eliza surprised him with tickets to a baseball game, his favorite team. She sat through 9 innings despite having no interest in sports, cheering when he cheered, laughing at his commentary. Afterward, back at his apartment with Meyer asleep in the next room, she gave him a second gift, a small box containing a key. "To my apartment," she said. "I want you to feel like it is yours too. Come and go as you please. Bring Maya whenever you want. It is not just my space anymore. It is ours." Benjamin accepted the key, overwhelmed by the gesture. "I do not have anything nearly this meaningful to give you. You have given me everything," Eliza said softly. "A family, a home, a reason to leave work at 5 o'clock. Pancake breakfasts and movie nights and someone to talk to at the end of the day. You have given me a life, Benjamin, a real life, not just an existence." He made love to her that night with a tenderness and passion that left them both shaken. Afterward, holding her close, he whispered the words he had been feeling for weeks but had been too scared to say. "I love you, Eliza Kane. I love you too, Benjamin Walsh, so much," they told Maya the next morning over breakfast. She was eating cereal and chattering about her upcoming field trip when they asked if they could talk to her about something important. "Are you getting married?" Maya asked immediately. Benjamin and Eliza exchanged surprised looks. "Not yet," Benjamin said. "But we wanted to tell you that we love each other very much, and we wanted to make sure you are okay with that." "Of course I am okay with it. I have been waiting for you guys to figure it out forever." Maya rolled her eyes dramatically. "But when you do get married, I want to be the flower girl. And Dr. Tentacles should be in the wedding too." "We will keep that in mind," Eliza said, trying not to laugh. "Also, can I call you Eliza or do I have to call you something else? My friend Katie's stepmom makes her call her mother Jennifer, and it is weird." "Eliza is perfect," Eliza said firmly. "Always just Eliza." "Okay, good. Can I have more cereal?" As Maya bounded off to refill her bowl, Benjamin shook his head in wonder. That was easier than expected. She is a smart kid. She has known what was happening probably before we did. Summer came, bringing longer days and more time together. They went to the beach, Eliza wearing a sun hat and making elaborate sandcastles with Maya while Benjamin watched, his heart full. They had barbecues where Eliza accidentally burned the hot dogs but laughed about it. They stayed up late on Eliza's balcony after Maya was asleep, talking and kissing and planning their future. One evening in late July, Benjamin suggested they go out for a nice dinner, just the two of them. Mrs. Chen was happy to watch Maya, and they went to a restaurant on the waterfront. Fancy enough that Benjamin had borrowed a dress shirt from a friend, and Eliza wore a blue dress that made her eyes look like jewels. Over dessert, Benjamin reached across the table and took Eliza's hand. His heart was pounding so hard he was sure she could hear it. "Eliza, I have been thinking about the future a lot lately. About what I want, what Maya needs, what would make us all happy. And every time I think about it, you are there. You are in every vision of the future I have. Benjamin." "Wait, let me get this out before I lose my nerve." He took a deep breath. "You came into my life like a snowstorm, unexpected and transformative. You could have gotten into your driver's car that day and I never would have seen you again. But instead, you shared my truck and my dinner and my life. You have been patient with me, loving with Maya, and you have made me believe in second chances." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Eliza's eyes widened, her hand coming up to cover her mouth. "I do not have a lot to offer you. I am still a construction worker who comes home tired more often than not. I still live in a small apartment with second-hand furniture, but I love you with everything I have. And if you will have us, if you will have me, I promise to spend every day trying to make you as happy as you make me." He opened the box, revealing a simple but elegant ring, a single diamond on a white gold band. "Elizabeth Kane, will you marry me?" Tears were streaming down Eliza's face. "Yes. Yes, absolutely yes." She was half laughing, half crying as Benjamin slipped the ring on her finger, and then she was out of her chair and in his arms, kissing him as other diners applauded. "I love you," she whispered against his lips. "I love you so much. You and Maya, you are my family. You are everything." They told Maya the next morning. Her reaction was to scream, jump up and down, and immediately start planning the wedding. "Can we have it at the aquarium, and everyone can wear mermaid costumes, and we can have fish-shaped cake?" "We will figure something out," Benjamin promised, exchanging amused glances with Eliza over Maya's head. The engagement period was joyful and chaotic. They decided on a small ceremony, just close friends and family. Benjamin's parents, who he had not been particularly close to since Sarah's death, were surprised but genuinely happy for him. Eliza had no family to invite, the foster care system having left her without those connections, but she had colleagues and friends who were thrilled for her. Mrs. Chen appointed herself unofficial grandmother and immediately began crocheting decorations. Maya took her flower girl duties extremely seriously, practicing walking slowly and tossing imaginary petals for weeks beforehand. They married in October, a year after they met, in a small ceremony at a botanical garden. The trees were brilliant with fall colors, and the air was crisp but not cold. Maya walked down the aisle in a burgundy dress, scattering rose petals with solemn concentration, Doctor. Tentacles tucked under her arm because she had insisted he was part of the family and needed to be there. Eliza was stunning in a simple cream-colored dress, her hair loose around her shoulders. When Benjamin saw her walking toward him, his eyes filled with tears. This woman, this brilliant, beautiful, kind woman, had chosen him. Chosen them. Chosen this life, they wrote their own vows. Benjamin promised to always share his umbrella, to support her dreams, to be her safe place to land. Eliza promised to choose them every day, to make time for what mattered, to build a life based on love rather than achievement. When the officiant pronounced them married, Maya cheered louder than anyone, and Benjamin kissed his wife for the first time, feeling like the luckiest man alive. The reception was small and intimate, held in a nearby community center that Mrs. Chen had helped decorate. They had a simple dinner, cake that was not fish-shaped but was delicious, and dancing. Benjamin held Eliza close as they swayed to their first dance, a slow song that Maya had helped them pick out. "Hello, Mrs. Walsh," he murmured into her ear. "Actually, I am keeping Kane for work, but I like the sound of Mrs. Walsh for personal life," she said. "Best of both worlds." "Whatever makes you happy. You make me happy. This makes me happy." She looked around the room, at Maya dancing with Mrs. Chen, at Benjamin's parents chatting with Eliza's assistant, at the life they had built together. "A year ago I was alone, working constantly, convinced I had everything I needed. And now I have everything I want." They honeymooned locally, just a weekend away while Mrs. Chen stayed with Maya. They stayed at a bed and breakfast in the countryside, sleeping late, taking long walks and reveling in uninterrupted time together. It was perfect in its simplicity. When they returned, they had a family meeting. They had been essentially living between two apartments for months, and it was not practical long-term. The decision was made to combine households, looking for a larger place that could accommodate all three of them comfortably. They found a house, something Benjamin had never dared dream of owning. It was small by most standards, a 3-bedroom bungalow with a yard and a garage, but to them it was a palace. Eliza paid the down payment over Benjamin's protests, arguing that they were a family now, and it made sense for her to contribute more financially given her income. "But I want to pull my weight," Benjamin insisted. "You do pull your weight. You keep our lives running smoothly. You make sure Maya gets to school and to her activities. You cook dinners and handle repairs and make our house a home. That is just as valuable as money, Benjamin. More valuable, actually." They compromised, with Benjamin taking on the mortgage payments and Eliza handling other expenses. It felt more balanced, more like a true partnership. Moving into the house was an adventure. Maya got her own room, bigger than her previous one, with space for her growing rock collection and her books, and all of Dr. Tentacles' many stuffed animal friends. Benjamin and Eliza's room had an actual closet with space for both of their clothes. The living room was big enough for a proper couch, and the kitchen had room for all of them to cook together. "This is home," Eliza said on their first night there, standing in the middle of the living room and looking around in wonder. "I have never had a real home before. I have had apartments and dorm rooms and hotel rooms, but never a home." Now you do, Benjamin said, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Now we do. Life settled into a new normal. Benjamin continued working construction, but took a position with a company that offered better benefits and more stable hours. Eliza cut back her work travel significantly, managing to do most of her work remotely or from the local office. Maya thrived in her new school, making friends easily and excelling in her classes. They had family dinners every night, a rule they rarely broke. They went to Maya's soccer games and parent-teacher conferences as a united front. They celebrated birthdays and holidays with enthusiasm. Eliza learned to cook more than just pancakes, though she would never claim to be a chef. Benjamin let Eliza teach him about technology, finally getting a newer laptop and learning to use video calls when she did have to travel. In the spring, Maya asked if they could get a dog. Benjamin and Eliza exchanged looks, communicating silently the way long-term couples do. What kind of dog? Eliza asked. Maya's eyes lit up. Really, we can get one. They ended up at the shelter the following weekend, where a mutt of indeterminate breeding immediately attached himself to Maya, following her around and licking her hands. This one, Maya declared. His name is Captain. Captain. Benjamin asked, like a ship captain, because of fish, obviously. The logic was sound to an 8-year-old. Captain came home with them, and despite being a chaotic addition to the household, he fit right in, sleeping at the foot of Maya's bed and greeting them enthusiastically whenever anyone came home. On their first anniversary, Eliza surprised Benjamin by announcing she had news. They were at dinner, a nicer restaurant this time with Maya at a sleepover at a friend's house. I am pregnant, she said, her eyes shining with happy tears. We are having a baby. Benjamin felt his heart stop and then restart at double speed. A baby, really? Really. I know we did not specifically plan this, and I know it is going to change things, but Benjamin, I am so happy. I want this. I want a child with you. He pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply. I am happy too, shocked, but happy. Maya is going to lose her mind. I know. I was thinking we could tell her together this weekend. Make it special. They told Maya on Saturday morning over a special breakfast. Benjamin had made heart-shaped pancakes while Eliza set up decorations. When Maya came out of her room, still in her pajamas with her hair sticking up in every direction, she looked confused. What is all this? We have some news, Eliza said, patting the seat next to her. Big news. Maya sat down, suddenly looking nervous. Good news or bad news? Very good news, Benjamin assured her. How would you feel about being a big sister? The words took a moment to process. Maya's eyes went wide. You mean like a baby, a real baby? A real baby, Eliza confirmed, her hand unconsciously moving to her still flat stomach. You are going to have a little brother or sister around December. Maya shrieked, jumping up and down just like she had when they announced the engagement. This is the best day ever. I am going to be a big sister. Can I help pick names? And can I help with the baby? And can we paint the nursery blue because I like blue? You can help with all of it, Benjamin promised. This is a family thing. We are all in this together. The pregnancy progressed smoothly. Eliza worked from home more and more as she got bigger, setting up a proper home office in the spare room. They converted what had been a guest room into a nursery, painting it a soft sage green that Maya declared was actually better than blue. Benjamin built a crib from a kit, cursing the complicated instructions while Eliza and Maya supervised. Maya took her role as big sister in waiting very seriously. She read books about babies, practicing diaper changes on her dolls. She made welcome home signs and painted pictures to hang in the nursery. She talked to Eliza's stomach, telling the baby about all the things they would do together. You are going to love it here, Maya told the baby one evening while they were all watching TV. We have a dog and a yard and the best dad and Eliza in the whole world, and I am going to teach you everything about fish and rocks and soccer. Benjamin watched this, his heart so full it almost hurt. This was his family. These were his people. The struggling single dad who had thought his life was over had somehow found his way to this moment. A wife he adored, a daughter who was thriving, and another child on the way. Eliza went into labor on a cold December evening, almost exactly 2 years after that snowy day at the school when they first met. Benjamin drove her to the hospital, while Mrs. Chen stayed with Maya, who made them promise to call the second the baby arrived. The labor was long and difficult, and Benjamin stayed by Eliza's side through all of it, holding her hand, coaching her breathing, telling her how strong she was. Finally, after hours of effort, their daughter was born, screaming and red-faced and absolutely perfect. "It is a girl," the nurse announced, placing the baby on Eliza's chest. Benjamin felt tears stream down his face as he looked at his new daughter, this tiny, perfect person that he and Eliza had created together. "She is beautiful. You are beautiful. You did so amazing." "We did amazing," Eliza corrected, exhausted but radiant. "We are a team." They named her Sarah Elizabeth Walsh, honoring both Benjamin's past and their present. When Maya came to visit the next day, she brought a teddy bear and a card she had made herself. "She is so little," Maya whispered, gently touching baby Sarah's tiny hand. "Hello, Sarah. I am your big sister, Maya. We are going to be best friends." Benjamin stood with his arm around Eliza's shoulders, watching his daughters meet for the first time, and felt a profound sense of peace. This was what life was supposed to be. Not perfect, not always easy, but full of love and connection and purpose. They brought Sarah home a few days later, beginning the exhausting but joyful newborn phase. Eliza was on maternity leave, and Benjamin had taken time off work as well. The house was chaotic, filled with crying and diapers and midnight feedings, but also with laughter and wonder and so much love. Maya was an excellent big sister, always wanting to help, singing to Sarah when she cried, proudly showing her off to anyone who would look. Captain appointed himself baby guardian, sleeping beside Sarah's bassinet and alerting them if she so much as whimpered. Mrs. Chen visited frequently, bringing food and offering to hold the baby so Benjamin and Eliza could nap. "You have built something beautiful here," she told them. "A real family, full of love. This is what matters in life." The months passed in a blur of firsts. Sarah's first smile, her first laugh, her first time rolling over. Maya started 3rd grade and joined the school science club. Benjamin got a promotion at work, moving into a supervisor role with better pay. Eliza successfully negotiated a permanent remote work arrangement, allowing her to balance her career with being present for her family. On a snowy December evening, the anniversary of the day they met, Benjamin and Eliza stood in their backyard watching Maya build a snowman with Captain's enthusiastic help. Sarah was inside, sleeping in her swing, the baby monitor clipped to Benjamin's pocket. 2 years, Eliza said softly. 2 years since I was standing outside a school in impractical shoes, cold and alone. 2 years since I offered to share my truck with a stranger. Best decision I ever made, accepting that offer. She turned to face him, her eyes bright in the reflected light from the snow. "You saved me, Benjamin, not from the cold that day, but from a life that was empty despite being full. You showed me what really matters." "You saved me too," Benjamin said, pulling her close. "I was just surviving, getting through each day for Maya's sake. You taught me how to live again. How to hope, how to love." They kissed as snow fell around them, Maya's laughter echoing from across the yard. Inside the house, their baby slept peacefully. This was their life now, imperfect and beautiful and theirs. The years continued to unfold with their challenges and triumphs. Sarah grew into a curious toddler who followed Maya everywhere, wanting to do everything her big sister did. Maya graduated elementary school and moved on to middle school, still as passionate about marine biology as ever. Benjamin and Eliza celebrated anniversaries and birthdays, weathered illnesses and setbacks, and continued to choose each other every single day. When Sarah started kindergarten, Eliza expanded her education initiative, partnering with more schools and making a real difference in children's lives. When Maya turned 13 and began the turbulent teenage years, Benjamin and Eliza navigated it together, providing a united front of love and boundaries. They added a cat to the household when Sarah begged for one, a orange tabby named Professor Whiskers, who tolerated Captain with dignified patience. They took family vacations, camping trips and beach weekends, and one memorable cruise where Sarah got seasick, but insisted she still loved the ocean. Through it all, they stayed connected to their roots. They never forgot the struggle that had defined Benjamin's early years as a single father. They donated to programs supporting single parents and kids in need. They volunteered at shelters and food banks, Maya and Sarah learning early the importance of helping others. On their 10th anniversary, they renewed their vows in their backyard, surrounded by friends and family. Maya was 17 now, preparing for college, still planning to study marine biology. Sarah was 8, missing her 2 front teeth but grinning widely as she served as flower girl once again, this time with Professor Whiskers in a bow tie carried by her side. 10 years ago, you were a stranger in a snowstorm, Benjamin said, holding both of Eliza's hands. Today, you are my wife, my partner, the mother of my children, and my best friend. You are the reason I wake up grateful every morning. I love you more today than I did 10 years ago, and I will love you even more tomorrow. You shared your umbrella with me, but you gave me so much more than shelter from the snow, Eliza responded, her voice thick with emotion. You gave me a home, a family, a purpose beyond corporate success. You saw me, really saw me, when I was invisible to almost everyone else. Thank you for that day. Thank you for every day since. I love you endlessly. As they kissed, their daughters cheered, and Benjamin felt the same sense of rightness he had felt all those years ago. This was exactly where he was supposed to be, with these people. In this life, they had built together from a chance encounter and a simple act of kindness. That evening, after everyone had gone home and the girls were asleep, Benjamin and Eliza sat on their back porch, bundled in blankets against the December cold. It was snowing lightly, fat flakes drifting down in the quiet night. Remember when Maya said we should share an umbrella? Eliza laughed softly at the memory. I did not even have an umbrella that day. Neither did I, but we figured it out. We always figure it out. Always, Benjamin agreed, pulling her closer. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the snow fall, thinking about all the moments that had led them here. A forgotten umbrella. A snowy parking lot, a simple offer of help, such small things, but they had changed everything. Inside their warm house, their children slept peacefully. The dog snored softly from his bed in the corner. The cat was curled up on a chair. Photos lined the walls, documenting years of love and laughter. This was their life, built not on grand gestures or perfect moments, but on everyday kindness, sustained effort, and unwavering commitment. Benjamin thought about the man he had been that December evening years ago, struggling and alone, doing his best, but barely keeping his head above water. He thought about the woman Eliza had been, successful but disconnected, searching for something she could not name. And he thought about who they had become together, stronger, happier, whole. The snow continued to fall, blanketing their yard in white, and Benjamin Walsh held his wife close, grateful beyond measure for every single snowflake that had brought them to this perfect moment. Their story had started with a snowstorm, and through every season since, they had weathered it together, building a love that would last a lifetime and beyond. This was their happily ever after, not because it was perfect, but because it was real and chosen, and filled with the kind of love that transformed ordinary days into extraordinary ones. The kind of love that started with sharing what little you had and grew into something beautiful beyond measure. And as the snow fell softly around their home, Benjamin kissed his wife's forehead and whispered, "Best decision I ever made, offering you a ride that day." Eliza smiled against his chest. "Best decision I ever made," saying yes. In the end, that was what mattered most. Two people who had said yes to helping each other, to trusting each other, to building a life together. From a simple act of kindness in a snowstorm had grown a family, a home, and a love story that would continue for all the years to come.